And this is the same company that I started working for, and then 3 months later, he fired me.
I feel safer in Dubai than I do in Europe. Look at what's going on in Europe right now.
How long did it take you to become like a good agent?
Anywhere between 1 to 2 years.
Do you think it's easier?
I think a lot of people are sold the dream and they come over just expecting to make big money straight away.
Today on the podcast, I got the owner and CEO of Elite Properties. They're a boutique, award-winning real estate agency here in Dubai. And this is the same company that I started working for when I moved to Dubai in July. And then 3 months later, he fired me. And we'll get a little more into that later on in the podcast. But Jake Jones, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, man. It's awesome, man.
Yeah.
You know, when I started working for you in July, I just thought you were so cool. And every time I just wanted to hang out with you, I wanted to talk to you, but you know, you were so busy running around, running the businesses. And I was just like a little nervous every time I was around you because I just thought you were so cool. So I'm just super grateful that you're here and I get to talk to you for like an hour and a half.
It's a pleasure to be here. And I've been watching your story online, following your socials. It's going very good. So
thanks, man. Yeah, thanks. It's been crazy, man.
Yeah.
But I want to get right into like a very interesting topic because when I moved to Dubai, I was so looking into real estate agents and how much they can make. And obviously, you're probably the best person to answer that question because you've hired like probably almost 100 real estate agents and you actually pay their salary. So say you become like a top 10, top 20% real estate agent in Dubai. How much is it possible to make consistently every month?
So first off, there's no salary. So it's all commission only. We do pay obviously higher commission than the standard kind of 50-50 in the market. But yeah, I mean, do you mean how much they can earn or?
Yeah, like what is the possibilities for them to like get in the pocket every month consistently?
I mean, a good strong agent should be hitting the 100,000 dirham target every month.
Okay.
But you know, on average, we have an annual target of 1.2 million a year.
That's the target.
Yeah.
So say they hit the 100,000 dirham target per month, then they split it 50-50 with the agency, right?
Yeah, that's standard, but some agencies pay more, you know,
Okay.
60, 65%.
Okay. So if they're making 100,000 dirhams a month, they split it 50-50, so they're left with 50,000 a month.
Yeah.
So that in dollars, that's about $13,000 a month.
Yeah.
Is it possible if you become like the top 10%, you're just selling consistently like crazy? Is there any agents that are making like $40,000-$50,000 every month?
Yeah, I mean you've got the top kind of 5 to 10% that are doing way more than that. You know, 200, 300,000, you know, more than that a month on average. You know, I know agents in the market, very, very few, but there is some agents in the market that do, you know, 10 to 20 million dirhams in commission a year, crazy. Which is crazy money. And that's kind of the top 1 or 2%, I would say.
Yeah. I guess this, you know, you've probably heard about like the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
And this is probably applies very well for being an agent in Dubai, that like 20% of the agents make 80% of the commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you know,
true.
if you say you come to Dubai, you haven't developed your sales skills yet, it's going to be very hard to, you know, start selling very consistently. But I guess you need a lot of time to get good at this. Or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it takes, you know, it can take 5 to 6 months to really start doing transactions, start building your network. You know, a lot of people come over from the UK or from Europe. They think, you know, they see Dubai, they see the kind of flashy lifestyles that people are living, and they think they're going to just make, you know, $100,000 in their first year. It's not like that, you know, it's more gradual. So it can take, you know, 4 to 6 months to start doing sales as a real estate agent. Some agents, you know, do that a lot quicker, but I think a lot of people are sold the dream and they come over just expecting to make big money straight away. It doesn't quite work like that. You know, they don't have the patience. And you have to go through a lot of failures and a lot of, you know, months of sometimes not doing any deals, you know, learning your trade, learning the craft, before you start, you know, doing the big numbers and hitting target.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, man. So what about Elite Properties? Just to understand, you know, your business a little bit better. So how many apartments did you sell 2023? Do you have that number?
2023, how many apartments did we sell? 2023, I mean, we did just under a 1 billion in property value in sales. And we're now, nearly 3 years old, and we're touching on, 3 billion dirhams worth of property value sold. We're still a boutique agency. So really we have, 20 to 25 agents at the moment.
Okay.
So we're still quite a small company.
Yeah.
Still growing, but we don't want to be, too big, like, 100, 150 agents. We're trying to keep to, quality over quantity.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
I saw somewhere you won the Boutique Agency of the Year award.
Yeah, correct.
Who gives out this reward, and why did you win it?
So that was with Bayou and Dibizzle, 2022. We were voted the best boutique agency in Dubai, and I think it was just truth. They saw that we were the rate we grew. We started in 2021, mid 2021, to kind of our reputation and brand grew so quickly in the market. So they recognised us. It was nice to be recognised by obviously such a big portal, but we're also voted by the people for that award. So we got the most votes out of any other boutique agency.
Yeah, boutique. This is a word I didn't know before I saw this award. But boutique means like a small company, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
you're kind of a boutique in subleasing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It's a nice word. It's a good word. It's better than like small real estate. And boutique is a lot nicer.
Exactly. And clients like that because I think they have more of they feel like they get a better service with a boutique.
More personal.
Because they feel that more personal, as opposed to, a massive agency where there's, corporation of 200-300 agents. They're like, well, I'm not going to get that kind of personalized service. I might be forgotten about. So being a boutique, I think in this market is a strong point.
I saw you were on the phone right before the podcast. Were you talking to one of your clients?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Always on the phone.
Yeah, gotta be.
Shit, man. So tell me, you said you sold like 2 million. No, how much did you sell?
Just under 1 billion dirhams worth of property value. 1
billion dirhams. And in dollars, such big numbers, I can't even put it in my calculator.
Yeah.
In dollars, how much is that? It's like 250 million dollars.
Yeah.
And then your company takes like 2 to 5% commission out of that.
Yeah, I mean, it can go up to 7% commission.
Really?
There was a point where it was going up to 8%, but now developers have started to reduce commission slightly because the market is so strong. So normally developers increase the commission when the market's not selling as quickly as it has been. When the market becomes very strong and they don't need to pay high commission, the developer starts to lower the commissions.
So how is the market right now? Is it strong?
Yeah, I think still very, very strong, still a lot of momentum. We're not seeing so many Russian buyers moving into the market now, but I'd say there's a lot more Chinese buyers transacting. And to be honest, over the last 11 years that I've been in Dubai, nearly 12 years now.
That's crazy, by the way.
Yeah, there's always been, I mean, whether it was, the Brits, whether it was the Indians, whether it was the Russians, there's always a different nationality where is buying, So I say to the team all the time, don't worry if the market starts to slow down, if the Russians stop buying or Chinese stop buying, there's going to be another nationality because Dubai is never going to lose as long as it's sunny here, as long as the tax still stays very low, as long as the lifestyle is still good, there's always going to be people wanting to move here. That's the important thing.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah. So are you the only owner, or are your partners in the company, or?
Yeah, partners. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So my partners are Aaron Leo and Sahela Moldina. Originally, we were working at another award-winning agency before we started. Okay. And I mean, Aaron, I've known for nearly 13 or 14 years now. So we actually went to university together.
Oh, in London?
In Leeds, in the
Leeds.
UK. Yeah, so we actually met at university.
Wow. And did you move to Dubai together, or was it just a coincidence?
Yeah, so I moved. I was actually looking at London or Dubai before I moved over after university, and it was so clear to me that there was so much more opportunity in Dubai than there was London. At the time, looking back, London was very, very saturated. They kind of, as a graduate, when you leave university, they're looking for people that have got 5 or 6 years experience, you know, for a graduate job, and you're like, how am I supposed to get 5 or 6 years experience, you know, for a graduate job? It doesn't make sense. And
were you trying to become a real estate agent in London?
I was looking at the real estate market, but then when you looked at, you know, like the salary they were paying, the commission is a lot lower in the UK. I mean, I think in the UK the commission's crazy. Like you sell a property and the commission might be like £1,000 or less than that, which is.
So the agency only charges that, or does the agent just get such a small cut?
Yeah, the agent, because they get a good basic salary, car, you know, all of the perks. So the commission is a lot lower.
How much? So say you sell your apartment in London, how much percentage do you have to pay the agency?
If you sell, so I think they still have a 2% commission.
Similar to here.
Yeah, similar. But yeah, just, you know, when you weighed up all the costs of, you know, if living in London, okay, I've got to pay so much on rent, so much on public transport, 40%, 45% tax. I was looking at the numbers. I was like, you know,
you just saw the lifestyle was going to be a lot better.
Yeah,
here.
the lifestyle, and also, you know, the earning potential here in Dubai. You know,
yeah,
you can
sky's the limit.
Yeah, if you have a few good years in Dubai, I mean, it would take you 10 or 12 years to do that in, you know, in London or some parts of the UK.
So are you from Leeds?
No, I'm from Loughborough, which is a small town close to Nottingham. Yeah. Okay. You know it?
Not really. But I've heard about Nottingham. Obviously, I'm not from the UK. I'm from Iceland. So
yeah.
But all right. So what did you study in the university?
So I studied international business and management at university. So it was kind of like I knew I didn't want to be in the UK, so that's why I studied international business, and it kind of gave me a broad range of options. So I knew when I finished university, I would be able to go into business, but I didn't really want to be in the UK anymore.
I gotcha. And so did you always knew you were going to get into real estate agency, or you were just thinking real estate in general, or? So
yeah, my dad's an architect in the UK, so I've always been, you know, as a younger man, I was also working with my dad, you know, helping him out. So I was always kind of involved in the real estate business. I was even a plumber at one point. So yeah, so when I left school, I was actually in plumbing and doing manual labour, working on building sites. You know, getting up at 6 a.m. in the cold rain in the UK, doing the kind of hands-on work, and yeah, I mean, I quickly realised that I was better with my mouth and, you know, dealing with customers than fixing houses. And there's also a lot more money in selling houses than fixing them. You know,
really,
yeah.
Sometimes I think, you know, these plumbers, especially if you make like a plumbing business, that's pretty lucrative too, though. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, in Europe and the UK, you can have a very good business with, you know, plumbing or electricians, any kind of manual labour. It's very good. It's not like here in Dubai.
Oh yeah, because the labour is so cheap here and it's so competitive. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So did you do any other jobs in the UK before you came to Dubai, or was it just the plumbing for a little bit?
Yeah, that was the plumbing. And I so that was so I had my own plumbing business.
Here?
No, that was in the UK.
Oh,
so, yeah,
you had your own plumbing business in the UK?
Yeah, so when I was in the UK, so when I was 18, I started that.
Wow.
Yeah, so from a young age, I was, you know, already kind of looking at setting up businesses. I was always been very entrepreneurial. And the recession hit in, you know, 2008. And people just stopped building, so construction really slowed down. So obviously having my own business at that age, I was kind of like, you know, what do I do? That's why I decided to go back to university. I thought, okay, the recession is probably going to take, you know, 3-4 years before we come out of recession in the UK. I thought it was a good chance to go back to university, learn more about business and management, because I knew that's what I wanted to do. You know, I didn't want to be kind of working on the tools all my life. You know, when you get older, you've got a bad back, sore knees. So I wanted to, you know, study a bit more, because I felt like I left school, you know, too early for various reasons. So I went back to university, and that's when I was, you know, kind of figuring out, okay, what do I want to do? You
feel like that degree helped you at all, or?
So. Very good for experience, you know, life experience. University is very good for. In terms of network, yes, you know, I've made some good contacts that I'm still in touch with. But in terms of business, I mean, I learned I mean, one more year in Dubai, as soon as I moved to Dubai, and 1 year or 2 years of living in Dubai, I learned way more
Yeah, exactly.
in that time frame than I did at
You think maybe it would have been better if you just came to Dubai 2 years earlier and skipped the school?
Definitely. So it's funny actually, because I actually came to Dubai in 2006 on holiday. So I think I was just under, I was around 18 at the time when I came on holiday for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Burj Khalifa was built, the structure was there, but it wasn't finished. So the glass was still not on the building for the Burj Khalifa.
That's when you came for a visit for the first time?
Yeah, for the first time. Marina, I don't even remember going to the marina on that trip, so I don't even think the marina was like a thing back then. It was like 2006, right? So Burj Khalifa wasn't finished. And then, when you get that kind of instinctive, like my gut feeling was, I knew this place was going to be, very, very good for business in the future. And that kind of stayed with me, at that age. But at that time, I was too young to stay.
How old were you then?
Just over 18.
And then how old were you when you actually made the move to Dubai?
So I made the move after university. I just turned 24.
And that's when you just applied for a job as a real estate agent?
Yeah.
With what company?
So it was a company called Smith & Ken. Okay. So I actually went to an open day that they had in London. Went to that and then, decided kind of... I was between that and financial sales. So I also had an interview at De Vere, which is financial sales. It's now called De Vere Acuma, I believe. And I was between those two, but I decided to go into real estate because it was more tangible. I was selling something, selling villas and apartments. I felt it was more tangible than selling, financial investments.
Oh yeah. So selling financial investments, so just like selling stocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, that was like, savings plans and, so I and obviously with, working for my dad with an architect, I had more experience in real estate already. So I just felt more comfortable in going into that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So how was how long did it take you to become like a good agent when you moved to Dubai?
Good question. I personally believe it takes anywhere between 1 to 2 years.
And how long did you do it in? 2 months?
No, I mean, within 4 months, I hit Diamond Club.
What does that mean?
Yeah, so Diamond Club was a thing in the company where once you'd done over 250,000 dirhams in a month, you hit Diamond Club, and they bought you a suit or some sort of
nice
incentive. So
that's what I like about. Even when I started working with you, and there was all of these, you told me about all these like incentive structures and bonuses and everything. My eyes just lit up. I was like, because there's so much competition, and I love that so much.
Yeah.
But do you think it's easier? It was easier then than it is now?
No, not at all. I mean, here's the thing. Like we were looking at back then. People would say, okay, it was 2013, right? So when we started off as agents, and the senior agents before us were in the company, they started in like 2008, maybe 2009, or some even 2006. And we would say that then. We were like, oh yeah, these guys are only good because they started back then when it was easier.
Oh.
Now it's the same thing, right? So we, the senior guys at Elite, we're there, and we see the young people come in, and they're coming up to us, talking, asking for advice, and they're like, yeah, but you guys started when it was a lot easier. But it wasn't at all. It was actually a lot harder, because back then you had to convince people that Dubai was a good place to live. It was a safe place to invest. It was, Dubai wasn't famous.
Yeah, now everybody knows it's fine. Yeah,
now,
it's established.
Since COVID, since kind of social media. When I think during COVID, everyone coming to Dubai on holiday, celebrities, influencers, putting it on social media, it kind of became like world famous.
Yeah.
So many people started moving here. Obviously, you've seen what happened to to the market and prices increasing. So yeah, now it's everybody knows Dubai. Everybody knows it's a good place to invest. Back then, you really had to convince people to make an investment here. One
thing I want to ask you. So for me, some people because I'm subleasing apartments in Dubai. I rent apartments long term, and then I put on Airbnb and Book.com and try to make a profit.
Yeah.
Some people ask me if I'm ever going to buy apartments in Dubai. I've bought some apartments in Iceland, and I'm really comfortable with the Icelandic market because I just understand it so well. there's a lot of people that want to move there, or like a lot, relatively, and it's not a lot being built. I just understand it so well. But Dubai, I don't understand it. I wouldn't trust buying as much in Dubai as I would in Iceland. Because what if because
we don't have volcanoes here though.
True, there's no volcanoes. There was a volcano in Iceland just recently, and one house went under the lava, then the lava stopped. It was only one house. It's so crazy.
I was going to ask you that because
Go ahead.
volcanoes. I know obviously you're very successful in Iceland with your Airbnb business, and I've seen the news lately about volcanoes. I was always thinking, okay, I wonder how Bergthor's getting on with his bookings, or what are you doing in this period? So
the thing is, it's not like a crazy explosion volcano. It's just a little lava coming out of the ground, There's one town that's very close to the lava. Yeah. There's like a season now in one area where volcano pops up and then it stops. It pops up again and then it stops. And in different locations. So it's very dangerous for that town and the Blue Lagoon that's in the area. But the airport and the city that all my apartments in, they're completely safe. It's like they're so far away from this area, so it's fine. Yeah. But the thing is, these volcanoes, it kind of scares tourists a little bit. So you do see when the eruption comes, I can see, there's a little more cancellations in my Airbnb apartments. Yeah. There's a little less bookings. Yeah. But sometimes the volcano is so safe and there's so much media around it and it's so pretty that it actually helps the tourism, that people... And you can actually go and see it. You can walk up to it and you can see it. So sometimes it actually just helps. Okay. Yeah. So that's the story with the volcanoes. Yeah. But I wanted to understand and get your opinion because Dubai, it has 9% of the people that live here are expats. They come from other countries to live here. And what I would be scared of, and I want you to debunk that, is if something would happen here, just Black Swan, I don't know, one bomb goes off somewhere or something, everybody would have such an easy time fleeing back home. And then there's so many empty apartments. Versus Iceland and probably UK, people don't have a place to flee to. They are more likely to stay. What do you think about that? Is that a risk or? I mean, going back, so for me, like now, I think it's the first time in centuries where I feel safer in Dubai than I do in Europe. I mean, look at what's going on in Europe right now in terms of wars and stuff like that. So I would feel more worried about bombs going off in the UK or places like this, than Dubai. Yeah. Honestly, I think because years ago, 2013, 2014, there was the war, in Iraq. So obviously back then it was like, okay, is Dubai safe? Yeah. You worry about what's going on so close. But now it's the opposite. I feel like that's going on in Europe. So people come to Dubai for safety. I mean, you look at the crime rate here, compared to places like Amsterdam, London, Barcelona. Yeah. The crime rate is nothing. Yeah. So I think safety is one of the main reasons people move here. I get what you're saying. What if everyone just leaves? But I mean, what are the chances of that? Look at how flexible the king is here. With creating new laws to always try to bring new businesses here, always trying to boost the market with new regulations. It's, it takes them one day to make a decision and they put a new law in, Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Man. Whereas in, the UK, they've got a parliament. It takes years to make any changes. So yeah, I just think if you look at how old Dubai is, I mean, Dubai is 25, 30 years old now. From the real estate market, like, what's happened in that time frame? It's it's grown so quickly, so strong. Where it's competing with cities like London, New York, which are 500 years old. Yeah. So the Dubai market it has a lot more potential. Yeah. The other thing I think about is what about like this scarcity, because it feels like they can build so much so easily, so fast. Versus, when I look at Iceland, they have a very hard time building more apartments. So what about like this scarcity? You seem, that's just, I don't know nothing about this, but it's just what comes to my mind. Yeah. What do you say about that? When I say, they just build more and more and there's not a lot of scarcity. What do you say to that?
So, I mean, the population's increasing so quickly as well, right? So, they're building so much because we need more supply, compared to demand. If you look at every single project which is being launched, as long as it's in a prime location or by a major developer, it's selling out within 1 day, 2 days.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why they keep launching.
I guess also there's always going to be scarcity in the hot areas. You know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we focus mainly on the prime areas. So, Dubai Hills, downtown, Dubai Marina, these areas where, now they are fully developed and they're always going to be, the prime locations of Dubai. So that's what we focus on.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I always wonder is, these new launches and they sell out within like minutes or hours.
Yeah.
Why I just don't why don't they just raise the price a little bit and sell it out over like 1 month or something? Why do they do it like that? That it just sells.
Sometimes they do, yeah. So normally they start collecting EOIs, the developer.
What is that?
So expression of interest.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they they're very clever, the developers. So they kind of test the waters with, collecting expressions of interest, seeing how many clients register. If there's huge amounts of demand for the pre-registration, then sometimes they do. The developers increase the price by 5%. And they do that as well for, next phases that come out in the project. So phase 1 might be at a certain price. And then, phase 2, they'll increase the prices. Phase 3, prices are higher again. So they're always increasing the prices. So it's always best for, investors to get in right at the start with off-plan projects.
Do you work like very closely with the like Emar and Damak, the developers, the big developers?
Yeah. So we're partnered with Emar, Damak, Nikhil, Maras, every major developer in Dubai, also developers in the UK and across Europe. So we've got very strong partnerships. We actually won number 1 with Emar back in 2017 with our original company. And then also number 2 in 2018. So across.
What does that mean? Like you sold the most, or?
Yeah, so so out of every agency across the world, we sold the most direct stock with Emar properties.
Is Emar in more countries than just Dubai?
Yeah, so you've got agencies registered all across the world.
Okay, so Emar is the biggest developer in Dubai. For those that don't know.
Yeah.
So is Emar only building apartments in Dubai? Or are they also building in India or whatever?
Yeah, they've got projects in other countries as well.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
So how does this relationship work between you and the developers? Do they just let you know personally when there's a hot launch coming, and then you tell your agents, and then the agents spread the word?
Yeah,
like
exactly. So we always kind of, down to relationships, we find out information on, projects that are coming up in the future through relationships at the developers. And then we kind of, brief our closest clients on projects that we expect to be launched in, the next quarter or, the next 6 months. We normally have a pipeline of clients ready to buy in such projects. And yeah, we basically... sorry, I was just thinking, what were we talking about then?
We were talking about off-plan. Shit, man.
Yeah. Off-plan, projects.
So the question was, how does it work, the relationship between you and the developers? Like, do you have like a contact that you just work with, and they let you know as soon as there's a hot launch?
Yeah. So they let us know as soon as they're launching a project. They'll send out like a briefing invite for all of the agents, and then we have to go to the briefing. So all the agencies will go to the briefing, find out all of the information, such as the brochures, the floor plans, the payment plan, the key selling points for the project, and what's unique. We find out everything, and then we go back to our clients and basically. Brief them on exactly, what the new project is, why it's good for investment, and that's.
What are the benefits of buying off-plan? So off-plan apartments means that they're not ready yet. They're not built yet, or they're being built.
Yeah.
What are the benefits of buying those rather than just buying apartments that are already ready and you can rent out right away?
Yeah, so I mean, the main benefit is, a lot of people want new property as well. So having a brand new property, never lived in, Obviously, you get warranty as well, and then the flexible payment plans that you can get with developers. So it's kind of like having a savings plan, where you're paying over a payment plan of maybe 3 to 4 years on a property instead of needing to get a mortgage. With a ready property, a lot of buyers, if they're not buying with cash, they need to get a mortgage.
Yeah.
So, and then, also the potential for capital appreciation. So a lot of the off-plan projects, especially projects which are selling out, within 1 or 2 days from launching, investors can buy, then just before handover, they might sell or on handover and make some capital appreciation.
So usually you can get like better deals, cheaper apartments.
Yeah. Sometimes depends on, it's not always cheaper. It depends on the project.
I gotcha.
Some might be luxury or high end. But yeah, normally it's down to flexibility and being a new project, having that potential for capital appreciation as well.
Got it. So let's go back into your story a little bit. So you moved to Dubai. You started working with that real estate agency. You worked with it for 5, 6, 7 years.
Yeah, so I was with the first agency for just under 3 years. Yeah,
and in these so you were with the first agency for 3 years and then you switched agencies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so 2015 I started working with another agency and we were mainly focused on off plan. So that's where our relationships really started with Emaar, Maras, all of the major developers.
Yeah.
And it was such good timing because there was a huge kind of trend of launching off plan. So Emaar were launching all of the projects that you see now in downtown or Dubai Hills where they're finished.
You sold all that.
We were like Dubai Hills. We started selling when it was plots of sand and there was nothing there.
So I remember you told me once that you and Aaron were one of the best agents in these companies, and you were selling a lot. How much were you meant to sell, and how much commission were you getting over all of these years?
I mean, we between 100 to 150 million dirhams in property value over the year. I think my best year was just under 200 million.
200 million dirhams in property value that you sold. I'm going to bring out the calculator.
Yeah.
200 million. So you sold properties for $54 million. Over what period of time?
That was 1 year.
That was 1 year. Yeah, that's crazy. So you were doing really good for a long time.
Yeah. So that was, very, very good year.
Yeah.
Now we're more focused on management and building the company.
Yeah. Why did you decide to start your own agency?
Good question. So I think it comes a point in everyone's sales career, especially where when you start believing that you can do it better than the management you're working for.
Yeah.
That's when you've got the right amount of experience, you've built up your network. I feel like that's the right time to set up. Because when you're young and you start off and you don't really have the right experience, you don't understand the business enough to do that straight away. Yeah. Sometimes you can jump in, but it might be a bit risky. Yeah. Then it comes a point in your instincts where okay, now I know I can do it better than.
So how long had you been an agent when you actually went and did that?
So I was an agent for 8 or 9 years before I started Elite Property. And
then you teamed up with Aaron and you just said, all right, let's start our own.
Yeah.
And did you?
So it was basically during COVID. So we, during the lockdowns where we were kind of sat inside, everyone was sat in their apartments, in their villas. We started creating ideas. We were like, and a lot of companies were created in periods like that, right? In financial crises, the lockdowns and COVID.
Everybody had so much time to think.
Yeah, we had more time to think, and we just started thinking. We wanted to build a platform where, experienced sales agents, very very hungry sales agents with experience in Dubai could basically just have a safe platform where you could trust the owners and do deals, make money, and that was all we wanted. That was how the idea started, and it just took off from there. We started with 4 people in a small office in Barsha Heights.
So when you say 4 people, is that including the 2 of you?
Yeah.
So obviously, if you start your own real estate agency, the benefit is not only you can hire a bunch of people you can just work in that agency yourself, and then you don't have to split the commission with somebody else. Was that like the idea also a little bit to begin with, or?
No, not really. I mean, we still do deals through, you know, our private networks, but not, you know, we're not mainly not focused on selling, but we still do the odd transaction here and there with our private networks. But we still split the commission with the company.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was more about having control and transparency. So you know, having control over the marketing, having control over the finance, having control over, you know, day-to-day operations. Because when I was an agent, I didn't agree with a lot of the decisions that the management were making.
Like what? Above
me. So, I mean, it was just, you know, sometimes you would see the management spending money or investing on things that I just didn't see made sense. You know, as an agent, you're like, okay, why don't you put that money into marketing or property finder or generating leads? Because at the end of the day, if you do that as an agent, we're going to get more leads, we're going to close more deals, and then it's going to be better off for the management. So I just kind of lost trust in the management, and I thought, you know, I think I know better what to do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man, I love it. So obviously you scaled that up to like 25 agents or whatever you have right now. What is like, what surprised you in that process? Like, what were the biggest challenges doing that whole thing?
Biggest challenges. So I think marketing and software is the biggest challenge. I mean, same, you know, obviously with holiday homes, I think software is hugely important with Airbnb and, you know, Price Labs and all of the tech that you use. And I think that's the biggest challenge, is just staying constantly updated every single day, because, you know, technology is always changing, right? I've noticed with you as well, like you're always changing your Price Lab settings, you're always testing. And I feel like that's what you, especially in, you know, Dubai, such a competitive market. I mean, 4,000-5,000 real estate agencies alone just in this city.
That's so crazy. 4,000 agencies, not agents.
They're agents.
Agencies.
Who knows how many agents? I mean, you know, it's just without RERAs and all of that as well. So I think marketing is a huge challenge because you've got such a saturated market. So that's been very
people. What surprised me the most when I moved to Dubai was how competitive, like, marketing and cold calling and everything like that was. Nobody in Iceland is cold calling for real estate agencies. Nobody. And I thought, like, actually, if I would have a real estate agency in Iceland and I would start cold calling, I would kill it. Because nobody else is doing it. People would just answer the phone and be like, "Oh, you're a real estate agent," you know. But here, if you cold call somebody, they're just gonna hang up right away because they're so tired of all the cold calling, all the marketing. So I bet that was the challenge.
That's hard. But I mean, you have to do that, you know, cold calling, and you have to be on every single platform now. So I think, you know, I say that to our team all the time. You have to be using every single avenue, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's emails, whether it's social media, whether it's cold calling, whether it's network, face-to-face meetings, because your competition will be, you know. You never know where, you know, you might not be able to get hold of someone with a call, but then you can reach them on WhatsApp or you can reach them on email. You never know, right? So you've got to be on every single platform. So
is that the marketing you do, or do you like run ads or something?
We run ads. Also very big on Property Finder as well.
You pay. Property Finder is the like the place where people go to look at properties online. And you pay them to have your properties on top, right?
Yeah. So Property Finder is, you know, the most dominant property portal in the Middle East. Very, 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 very good for generating leads. You know, over the last 11 years I've been here, most of my top clients come through Property Finder, you know. So, and it's the same with a lot of agents nowadays. They start in the market, they want to do, you know, social media, they want to try all these different tricks, you know, but Property Finder will always deliver the best leads.
So since you're not like spending a lot of time selling properties yourself, what does your day look like? I remember when I was working in your company for a while, and you were just running around in your office on the phone always. So what are you doing all day?
Well, how much time do we have? I mean, that's probably the most challenging thing, actually, talking about, you know, when you were going back to that point, you said, what's the most challenging thing, is getting used to being a business owner from, you know, kind of that transition from being an agent where you're just thinking about your own targets, you're thinking about your own sales, you know, your clients, transitioning into a business owner where you know, you're dealing with every single part of the business, operations, finance, marketing. That's very challenging because, you know, you get to work and I might have quite a clear schedule for the morning. And then as soon as I get to the office, there's, you know, some problems with some of the software, or, you know, we need to do something operational. So,
all right. So what you talk about softwares that you use as a real estate owner of a real estate agent, what softwares are you talking about?
So we use, CRM. We've got multiple websites and landing pages that we're developing constantly. Not just the main Elite Property website, also, you know, Elite Commercial, Elite Vacations, our holiday homes division. So yeah, also in terms of holiday homes, obviously you've got some of the software that you talk about all the time, Price Labs, Airbnb, Booking.com.
Yeah. So those are the softwares.
Yeah, that's the software. We also have, you know, many different softwares that we implement.
Yeah. So I bet also, since you have like 25 agents that you're managing, they're always asking you questions, right? They're always, and you got a bunch of more employees. How do you handle all of that?
So now we've got area managers. So we've promoted a few of our best agents who started with us, you know, from the beginning in 2021. So we promoted them into area managers where they have their own area. Might be, you know, the Palm Jumeirah, downtown, different teams. So we've had a kind of structural change.
Because you were just overwhelmed with
and it just felt like, you know, when you get to a certain point of you grow, you know, to a certain size, you need to have more management in position, more support. So we implemented a few area managers.
So the agents like don't go to you directly; they go to the area manager first if they have questions or.
Exactly. Yeah. So they go to the area manager for more support. They can still come to us, but we just needed more managerial support. So
I bet.
Yeah.
So what other things are you doing? You're probably doing a lot of research, like trying to understand what markets are good, what developers or something like that. Yeah,
constantly meeting with developers every single week. You know, building our relationships with developers, finding out exactly what's being launched. We always searching the market for good investment opportunities for our private networks as well. A lot of research. We're also, you know, looking at getting a new CRM for the company.
CRM, that's like a system where you can organize everything. You can
all of the clients.
Man. I remember when I was an insurance broker. I was a really good one in Iceland, and CRM was the key for me. Every person I was trying to sell, I had in the CRM, moved them around. That's key.
And then we want to get a CRM where we can implement AI. So we're trying to figure out how we can utilize AI in our real estate agency. So we've got a few different ideas, but I think, you know, that's huge. You know? Same with holiday homes. You've got your virtual assistants and you know, Price Labs, and, you know, there's a lot of AI involved. So we want to implement that as well into the brokerage.
I started using Monday.com. You've probably heard of it. It's a CRM, because now I'm up to 14 apartments that I'm subleasing in Dubai. And it was like the first time it was getting a little bit overwhelming, because I was like furnishing 2 apartments. There was one, I was waiting for the contract, and then there were a couple that I had to do the photo shoots. So I like set it up in Monday.com where I like, you know, I can move them around where each apartment is in the process and save all the files for each apartment. So that was pretty good.
So you're on what, number 14 now?
Yep.
How long has that been since you? Because I remember not long ago you were only on 2 or 3 units, right?
So before I stopped working at your company, which was like September probably, I only had maybe 3, I think. And then like since then I've just been scaling it up. Obviously there were so many things I had to learn first and make sure everything was working and it was going to be profitable. But as soon as I saw, okay, this is going to be profitable with the way I'm doing it, then I, you know, expanded. And then I ran into a little bit of money problems, because you need so much money to set things up. But now I've kind of figured that out a little bit better as well. So I'm just going to be expanding like crazy now. And
so going back to, you know, buying property in Dubai, what's the, so you're just worried about the risks of owning property, or is it down to the amount of down payment, or
It's the down payment.
down payments? Yeah.
So obviously for me to set up apartments, I need a lot less money setting up apartments when I sublease, because then I just have to buy the furniture,
Yeah.
pay the agent and the security deposit. But you know, the thing with Dubai is you have to put down 40%.
Yeah.
Isn't that right? You can buy one apartment with an
Yeah.
80% mortgage,
Yeah.
but then you have to put down 60%.
Yeah, exactly. On the second property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing why I like Iceland better, because I can get 75% mortgage as much as I want. You know?
Yeah.
You gotta,
so even if you have 3-4
Yeah.
properties, 75%.
as many as you want.
Really?
And then you can get the seller to lend you as well.
Yeah.
And so I got a 75% mortgage from the bank, and then I ask the owner that's selling me the apartment, I say, what if I pay you, 10 or 15% after 5 years?
Yeah.
And I'll give you a little higher purchase price. So that way I have like a 90 or 95% mortgage. So it's so much easier to leverage.
Yeah.
But here it's like almost impossible to do
Yeah.
anything
True.
like that.
Yeah. So unless you're buying with cash, I mean, you were looking at getting an investor as well, right?
Yes. That if I would get investors that would bring the 40% in for me, then totally I would be all in doing that for sure.
Yeah.
Is that a thing here, that like investors invest in people that buy apartments? Have you heard of that?
No, I mean, obviously with your business, I think you've been looking for an investor for your Airbnb business. So I was just wondering from that point of view, if you did find an investor, for example, that you were pitching to before, was that going to be the model where you were buying property, or you would still be subleasing?
Yeah. So the investor I have now, or actually I have two contacts that are helping me with this now, is you know how you have to pay the rent up front here in Dubai. You don't usually pay it monthly. So that, or you pay. I usually negotiate with the owner that I can pay 4 payments over the year.
Yeah.
But that way I still have to pay 3 months rent up front. So that takes a lot of capital. But now these investors, I'm having them pay the rent for me, and then I pay them back monthly. With a little, on top.
Okay.
So that way I don't have to worry about that. I just have to spend on the furniture.
Yeah.
And I'm getting really good deals now on furniture. So now I can set up apartments much cheaper than ever before.
How are you standing out from the crowd? I mean, because you've got, certain holiday home companies here, such as Blue Ground. I think there's a few others which have got, 800, 900 units on the market. How are you, standing out
You mean
compared to those?
You mean as my properties on Airbnb?
Yeah, like...
Yeah, so obviously there's a bunch of good holiday home operators in Dubai, and those stand out. And it's hard for me to stand out even more, but I just have to make sure that I am in the top 10 or 20%.
Yeah.
And the way I do it is I just put in like quality, good furniture. I spend more on furniture than most other people, and then it's just taking the best photos possible.
Yeah.
And not just take 15 or 20 photos, just take like 60
40
or
60,
just go crazy with it. Just a lot of photos. And and then it's just maximizing every single thing, like better descriptions, better captions on the listing. Just just do everything to stand out. But the biggest part is the photos and the furniture.
Yeah, I think one thing that I noticed about you when you were working at Elite, you were very analytical. So your feasibility studies, in the units that you're going to sublease, for example, you would look at every single number. You've got your Excel sheets. You're really very, very, very smart in kind of feasibility studies, because you don't just take units in every single area. You actually analyze every single number, and to make sure you can reach a certain profit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's the thing with Dubai. You can't just take any apartment. You have to find good cheap apartments, and maybe something that makes them stand out to tourists. Maybe it's a really good pool, or just a really good view, something that the tourists value more than the long-term tenant. So and something that I can present really well in the photos, in the first 4 photos, because that's what the tourists are actually looking at. So that's...
How's it work? I mean, would you look at taking units in, for example, areas like beachfront or blue waters? Obviously, very, very attractive for tourists. You've got beach, private beach, all the tourist facilities. But in terms of, paying the rent to the landlord, the rent's a lot higher than, obviously, I know areas like downtown views and areas where you've got units. do you still see enough room to make profit there, or?
I think you can make most things work. But what I think is I saw I could make it work the best in downtown and Business Bay. So that's just where I've been all in at.
Yeah.
Now I took my first apartment in Marina just because I want to see how much profit I can actually make there. But I think Ymar Beachfront and Blue Waters, they're so attractive for people to live in just long term. So the long term rent is very high. So if you want to sublease there, you have to get like a really, really good deal. But it's probably possible. Yeah. And I'll probably will at some point do it.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing we've noticed as well. Like long-term rent, because it's increased so much, it's actually now competing with the holiday homes return. So I mean, there was even an article on, I think, Forbes or Arabian Business where it was saying that long-term rent is actually more profitable than holiday home rent, you know, for landlords. So that's one thing that we've noticed. So I think it really depends on, like you said, the area and the project.
Yeah. But also it just depends so much on the holiday home operator as well. Because if you are a management company that's running 400 apartments and, you know, the big brain, the good, you know, person that started this company, he's not involved in every single apartment. He's got, you know, agents running these apartments for him. And the agents are not perfect. They cannot, they don't know how to truly maximize the profits, or maybe they just don't care. So it's if you're subleasing, you can put your whole heart and all your efforts into maximizing, you know, the rents, so you can make that profit. But I can totally understand that, you know, if you own an apartment and you give it to a holiday home management company, in many cases you're not going to make any more, obviously, because you have to give the agent the company 15 or 20%. But also they're not going to pour their heart and soul into that unit. You know what I mean? Like I'm doing.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, man.
Do you spend like every day, you know, analysing the units you've got, changing settings, or how much work do you actually put into?
Yeah, so obviously, I mean, if I go back to like my apartments in Iceland, when I started there, every day I was just analyzing, cracking the numbers. But then as I grew, I you know, and I started to know the market better, and I set my settings well. And then I moved to Dubai. I'm getting so comfortable with the Icelandic market that I spend maybe just twice a week. I look at it and, you know, change the settings a little bit, the prices. But in Dubai, I'm still so new in Dubai that, pretty much every day I'm checking the numbers, making improvements. Also, just because I've never experienced February in Dubai. I've never experienced March in Dubai. But, you know, next year when I have experienced these months, I'm going to be a lot more comfortable, and I would have to spend less time, you know, trying to understand what changes I have to make.
Yeah. And I noticed you were talking in some of your videos before about the summer months in Dubai. So I think you've already started receiving bookings, right? Yeah.
So obviously the summer months are a lot worse in Dubai than the winter months when it comes to Airbnb. But what I've done is just set my apartments at a very competitive rate very early. Like right now, they're already, if you go on Airbnb, you search 2-bedroom apartment in downtown, my apartment is going to come very top. It's going to be one of the best deals in the market. So my apartment has so much time to actually get booked because it's already one of the best deals in the market. So I am getting booked. I'm probably maybe like 10 or 20% booked in the summer already.
But you've adjusted the prices, right, to get the bookings.
Exactly. I lowered them a lot. But the thing is, once you come to say you're in June already, and you know the next week you don't have any bookings, you're gonna have to lower your price so much just because everybody is panicking and everybody's low and they're lowering their price. So then you're in such a price war with everybody, and then you have to lower the price even more than what you have to do now to actually get bookings. But you know, it's all like just testing and theories, and you know, I'm not an expert in this. I'm just, you know, documenting what I'm doing.
But I think the amount of detail that you go into, I mean, you spoke about obviously your listings being on the front page all the time. You go into a lot of detail. I know everything is, you know, a bit of a perfectionist, I think, with your listings.
I guess so, for sure.
So, you know, making sure, it's same with Property Finder, you know, you've got to make sure you're on the front pages for the projects where you're focusing on, because, you know, that's how you're going to catch the most leads or the most bookings in terms of holiday homes, right?
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, it's true. So, do you have any crazy stories as a real estate agent in Dubai? Some like weird stuff that happened to you?
Crazy, crazy stories. No,
I mean, you must have. You've been in 11 years, and there's so many people with a lot of money in Dubai. Nothing crazy?
No, not really. No, nothing that I can think of that's. I mean, most of my business has been off plan, right? So even a lot of the time we were dealing with clients that were not even in Dubai, we're not even meeting face to face. So we're doing a lot of transactions over the phone. So I think there's a lot more stories in the secondary market where you're doing viewings face to face. I've heard of some very funny stories, but for me, it was mainly off plan.
Yeah, I remember when I was working in your company that one of the agents, he went on the balcony somewhere. Yeah. He was alone, and the balcony door closed, and he locked himself out. And it was 50 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And
he was locked on the balcony.
And he was locked there for and he was texting people in the company trying to get them to open up. Yeah. But nobody had time to do it, so he offered people money to come let him out.
Yeah, no one would save him.
See,
I forgot about that. I think that was last year, right?
Yeah, probably August or something. Yeah. In the heat. Yeah. All right, man.
So what's your kind of goal? I mean, obviously you want to get to 100 units.
Yeah.
In subleasing. Where do you see yourself going after that? I mean, once you get to that 100.
Yeah. So honestly, I don't think I'm going to be subleasing forever because I see, the long-term benefits in buying apartments is actually a lot better, I feel like, just because of the appreciation of the apartment and you're paying down the loan and all that. So I think I'm going to be going to 100 apartments here in Dubai. Yeah. And then I'm going to, use that cash flow to transition over to buying, whether that's here in Dubai or maybe I'll move to America somewhere where I can do the creative finance thing I talked about earlier, where I can leverage a little more. But also I'm just taking 1 month at a time, and I got scared a little bit for a while because I felt like rents in Dubai were racing so much. I was having a harder time finding profitable deals. But now I feel like it's slowing down a little bit. So I'm okay, I can still do profitable deals. And also summer's coming, so I'm going to be able to, probably it's going to be even easier to negotiate with landlords. Yeah. So I'm just taking every month at a time. I mean, it could come at a point where I get to 40 apartments and I just don't feel like it's making sense anymore. Then I'll just stop. I'll do my 40 apartments and then I'll start doing something else. Yeah. So.
And would you look at moving to other markets? I mean, would you go to America or,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think, I'll stay in Dubai as long as I see that I'm making good profits. Yeah. But if something changes, then I'm probably going to be moving somewhere else. Yeah. And that's probably going to be America, Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I might test Abu Dhabi. I might test that. I've heard you can sublease there and make profit.
Really?
Yeah, he said, the guy in Silk House, he said
didn't they introduce new laws in New York regarding subleasing?
Yeah.
What was that?
I don't know exactly, but I think it's all over America and all over Europe, there's these regulations. And this is the good thing with Dubai. It's very clear regulations that you can just rent out on Airbnb as long as you want. Yeah. In Iceland, in most places, you can only rent out 90 days every year. And in America, cities like New York, I think you can only rent for 30 days or more. Yeah. So you cannot put your apartment on Airbnb and just rent it out for 7 days or 3 days.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's the reason. Okay. And there's a bunch of rules like that all over America. Yeah. But you just have to figure out what markets are Airbnb friendly, I hear all over Florida and Miami, you can rent as much as you want, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, I know because in I think south of France has got regulations on, you can only Airbnb your apartment for a couple of months of the year to protect, the residents in the cities. So it's interesting. Do you think they'd ever introduce something like that in Dubai?
You probably know better than me, right? I don't know, but I've not seen.
It's a big risk, right? If they did.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think?
I don't think they will. No, because I think that gets introduced when residents start making big complaints. Yeah, and complaining about Airbnb apartments, but you know, landlords are making very good returns on even long-term rent. You know, the yields are high, so I don't see why they would be, you know, complaining.
Yeah, I've seen no indication of that. I've never even heard that being mentioned or talked about at all.
No.
And also, I'm like shocked how neighbors don't care about Airbnb at all. Like in Iceland, and you hear this in America as well, it's just like neighbors are always like cursing Airbnb and just like crazy mad. And, you know, I've had a lot of problems with that in Iceland. But here, neighbors, it's just a part of Dubai.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like
true.
they don't even think about it. So that's the good thing about Airbnb in Dubai. I feel like, you know, on my Instagram, I make it seem very easy what I'm doing. And I think a lot of people want to do a similar thing.
Yeah, it's not easy at all.
It's definitely not easy. And I think Dubai is probably a harder market to do this in versus UK, America, or most of Europe. But Dubai is very good for like advanced operators, because if you can actually make your apartment profitable, then it's so easy to scale. It's so easy to get more apartments, and you know, it's so easy to delegate because labor is cheap and good employees here, and neighbors don't bother you, and regulations won't bother you, and all that, you know. But it's very hard to become profitable.
So why do you think it's better here than like the UK, for example, with subleasing?
I mean, I don't think it's easier. I think it's harder. But like I mentioned, it's more scalable if you can make it better. I think it's harder because of the regulations. Because the regulations are so easy or friendly, that there are just so many apartments on Airbnb that the competition is just so high. Versus, like, I did a podcast with a guy from Chicago, and there's regulations that only 6 apartments per building can go on Airbnb. So obviously, that's very hard to get, you know, into these apartments and put them on Airbnb. But if you actually get these apartments, they're going to be very profitable. And, you know, starting out in one of these markets where, you know, the regulations are a little bit of a gray area, and, you know, that's a lot easier than starting here in Dubai. Because I think if you start subleasing Dubai with no holiday home experience, you're not going to make any money.
It's definitely, very, very competitive.
For
market.
Sure.
And how do you compare it to like Iceland? Like, is there a lot of competition in Iceland, or?
Not really. I mean, there's like one professional company that does it very well, but other than that, it's just all like mom and pops people just doing it, you know? So there's no like big competition. But the thing is, there are very few apartments and areas that are allowed to go and be on Airbnb the whole year. So that also makes it very profitable when you can get those units. But the bad thing with Iceland is those rules might change at any time, you know? And I don't want to be expanding like crazy in Iceland, and then the regulations will change, and then I'm left with like 100 apartments worth of furniture, and I'm like, what do I do with all this? You know? So that's the thing. But you have a holiday home department in your company as well. How many apartments do you have now?
So now we're, I think, 35 units.
Nice. Okay.
So that's mainly, I mean, so obviously we were doing off-plan many years ago, so we had a lot of investors or clients that bought property with us, and then, you know, once it's finished, they wanted us to manage it for them. So, you know, offers a lot more flexibility. So most of our clients are, you know, they bought as a holiday home, they want to use the unit for 2-3 months a year maybe, they block the calendar. And then, you know, holiday home management offers them that flexibility where they can, you know, still use the apartment, but then have it generating income in the other months when they're not here as well. So it's not our main focus, the holiday homes, but it's something that we need to service our, you know, elite property clients, because it's an important part of the business.
You want to be like a full package when it comes to real estate.
Right? Exactly. You know, not just holiday homes, the commercial, long-term rentals as well. So we tried to have everything under the same roof.
Sounds like you grew a little bit. When I was with you, you had 20 apartments. And now you have 35. Do you see now that it's getting a little harder to manage all these, or do you have like good systems in place?
I think from obviously your time Elite, where you introduced, you know, Price Labs, for example, the channel management, Hostify, which we're using. Now we've worked all of the, you know, the software out and got everything, all of the settings working correctly. Awesome. I think a lot of it now is automated. So mainly, you know, managing the landlords and the owners is the hardest part.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, it's the same, you know, real estate is always, managing the buyer or managing the seller.
Yeah.
That's kind of the hard work. Subleasing, obviously, we've got units in downtown Views that we're subleasing as well.
Yeah.
And that's, you're just paying the landlord the rent. You don't have to deal with the owner anymore. Then you're just
So
making
much
sure.
easier.
Yeah, so much easier. So that's kind of, once you've got all the settings and the software set up, it's just managing the landlords. And
are you talking to the landlords, or do you have somebody designated for that?
We have holiday homes agents as well.
Yeah.
And we have holiday homes admin. Then we've got a maintenance team, cleaning company. So a lot of people think, okay, I can just set up a holiday homes company, but you need to have every single department covered, right? So already cleaning, maintenance, virtual assistants, channel management, because one bad review can damage your listing so much.
Exactly.
And the holiday homes guests are they've got high expectations. They're coming on holiday, they want everything to be perfect. So you really need to make sure that you're not getting any bad reviews. So you need to have the right team managing the units. Yeah.
So obviously there's these two models when it comes to an Airbnb business. You can either sublease like I am.
Yeah.
You just rent apartments, put them on Airbnb, and you take all the profit.
Yeah.
Or you can manage apartments for other people and you split the profits with the owner. You primarily do that. How much of a percentage do you charge of the profits or the revenue?
Yeah, so we charge 20% management fee. Okay. And then we also charge 25% for platinum membership, which has different perks involved. And that's kind of the market average, 20 to 25%. But yeah, we are looking to get more subleasing units now.
Nice.
Just finding the right projects and the right owners that we can work with on that.
What area are you thinking about?
We're thinking at JBR.
Okay.
Yeah, JBR, Marina, obviously Palm Jumeirah we would love, but the problem is landlords now, the rents have gone up so much and they're a lot less flexible on checks, right? So landlords wanting, yourself, wanting one check payment or two check payments. You really need to be getting, I prefer four checks in terms of cash flow. I mean, what do you normally aim for? Four
checks, yeah.
Yeah.
I got 12 checks the other day.
No way.
Yeah, but I had to pay an extra 10,000 dirhams in rent, but I thought it was worth it, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But usually 4 checks is what you can get without having to pay extra.
Yeah, 12 checks, yeah, I mean, that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
What unit is it?
It's Business Bay, the tower with the pool, infinity pool on top.
Okay.
But how it went is I got it directly from the owner. The owner just sent me a message on Instagram, and I met with him, and we agreed on 4 checks. And then I told him I was going to get an investor, to pay the rent for me, and I'll pay him monthly. And then he said, just how much are you paying the investor? And I said him 6% extra or something. And he said, just pay me 6% extra, and I'll give you the 12 checks. And I was like, all right.
So you actually got that landlord through the Instagram channel? Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't have to pay the agent a commission on that deal. So that helped a lot. There's just so many reasons where this social media thing has helped me. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, so going back to that, obviously we spoke about it at the start. Yeah. So you're getting a lot of opportunities and a lot more advantages from just the social media channel, right?
Yeah. Both just getting better deals with the furnishing companies. Agents are more eager to work with me, and I get more credibility from homeowners, and just being able to connect with people. I've connected with people that are just running 300 Airbnbs, so many of them, and I learned so much from them, and I can ask them for help, and yeah, it's crazy how it helps.
What's the most valuable lessons you've learned from some of your guests that, like you said, managing 300, 400 units? What have you learned from these guests, valuable lessons that you would say?
Man, it's hard to say, but so many things. Just about just improving little things like pricing, how to furnish a little better, and operations probably most. How, I've spoken to 2 guys in America that have over 300 apartments, and just seeing their virtual assistant operations. So both of them have people working for them in the Philippines. Yeah. And both of them have 25 people, and they only have to pay him $5 an hour, and they have leaderships structure within the group and just how organized everything is.
25 virtual assistants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's like leaders within that group that hire more people and are in charge of that people. And those are people that they have never even met. You know,
Yeah.
it's all just like through Zoom and through the phone. So probably, yeah, just like how the entire structure works, really.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. But then there's probably a lot of things that I'm forgetting, like little things.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
But also just, you know, being able to just send them a message on WhatsApp if I have like a little question, you know.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
But then once you get to say you got to 300 units in Dubai,
Yeah.
that's, you know, paying multiple checks for every single unit.
Mm-hmm.
There's potentially a lot of risk as well, right? So, for example, say if something like COVID happens again,
Yep.
you know, they stop traveling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how would you protect yourself in a situation like that?
Yeah, so obviously subleasing is a lot more risky than
Yeah.
managing apartments for owners. So I'd say, you know, that is a risk. If COVID happened again, it's possible that things would get very difficult. But the thing is, Dubai, I think I could possibly survive because Dubai stayed relatively open during COVID. And, you know, yeah, it would be hard, but
Yeah.
I would figure it out. I would like
Yeah.
negotiate with the landlords. I would, you know, try to get tenants in for longer term, you know. But honestly, yeah, it would be hard.
Special offers and
Yeah, it would definitely be hard if COVID happened exactly like it did. But that's also a big reason why I don't want to be subleasing forever. I want to get to a point where I start, you know, diversifying into something else.
Yeah.
Because if I'm always expanding, always spending my profits on new furniture, and I want to, you know, at some point stop and just take care of that portfolio and then, you know, diversifying into other things that are maybe less risky, you know, or, you know, somehow starting to manage apartments for other people and have a blended portfolio of subleasing and management.
Yeah.
That might lower the risk as well.
Yeah.
But honestly, yeah, it would be hard.
I think you can take confidence in knowing obviously what happened in Dubai during COVID and seeing how Dubai reacted. I think you can take a lot of confidence from that, and you know,
Exactly.
there's a lot less risk here. I think if you look at Europe and UK, they were in lockdown for a lot longer time period, right?
Exactly.
Felt like 2 years, or you know.
Yeah.
Here it was very, very quick. So I think you can take confidence in that.
Yeah. The guy that I spoke to from Chicago with 300 units, he said he went through COVID and he managed to survive. And you know, I spoke to him about that, and you know, he like renegotiated with the landlords, and he changed some of the deals with the landlords to revenue share.
Yeah.
Like he did all kinds of things to survive. And
does that have to be in your contract, your subleasing contract though, for if you were to renegotiate the contract? Is there any kind of clauses that you can put in?
yeah, you could put a clause in, like I know one guy that's subleasing in Dubai, he puts a clause in each one of his deals saying if the regulations change in Dubai regarding Airbnb, then he's allowed to pull out.
Okay.
So that's a good thing to do. I don't do that yet, but I might actually do that. So yeah, it's definitely risky, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. You have 2 subleasing deals. Those are actually, when I was working with you, I actually found those deals.
Yeah, you did.
These were 4 units that we took together.
Yeah.
I took 2 of them. You took 2 of them.
Yeah.
Really good deals.
Yeah.
I think like the rents, we got them for we're paying like 130 dirhams per year for each apartment.
4 checks.
4 checks, and the rents now are like 160 or higher, so they've risen now. So those were good deals.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit about that. So April 2023, I came for a job interview with Elite Properties.
Yeah.
The interview, you know, I got to tell you a story.
Yeah, go on.
It's funny. So I came to Dubai just for a visit. I dreamt of moving to Dubai. Like I wasn't sure that subleasing was going to work, but I wanted to get a job somewhere just to, you know, hang out with a bunch of people, you know, potentially make good money and learn about Airbnb in Dubai. And I had an interview with another company in Dubai, Holiday Home Agency, and they offered me just very, very low salary, no commission.
Yeah.
And and they wanted me to stay for a long time, and I only saw myself staying for a short period with that, structure. And then after that interview, I was like, yeah, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. This is never gonna work.
Yeah.
And then I had an interview with you guys, and I actually had no idea even what the job was. I was like, oh, I have this interview tomorrow, and I was even thinking about like not going.
Yeah.
And then I went. Reese in your company interviewed me.
Yeah, recruitment manager.
And she just sold me. Dude, she was telling me how the salary structure was as a real estate agent, and I was like doing my calculations. I was like, wow, you can make so much money as a real estate agent in Dubai if you're actually good.
Yeah.
And I was, an insurance broker in Iceland before, like years before, and I was like probably the best agent in Iceland for many years, and I was making good money. So I think, what's stopping me from just being one of the best agents in Dubai? And then I had my second interview with you, and you were telling me about all the salary structures and, the bonuses. And you just sold me on being an agent. And then I was like, all right, I'm moving here. I'm becoming a real estate agent. It's going to be great. But yeah, do you remember that interview?
I remember it well. Yeah.
Why did you decide to hire me?
So I could see that you were, there was something different about you with the experience you had in holiday homes.
Yeah.
From that point, I could see, like I said, going back to how analytical you were, the feasibility studies you were doing, the software you knew about, different software that we didn't even have yet.
Yeah.
So it was mainly, your knowledge, and I could see the potential that you had.
Yeah, nice.
And obviously, it goes to show from what you're doing now with your subleasing channel.
Yeah.
But I could see also that, you're very kind of, what's the word? You're very, very focused, but also you don't really work in teams. You're very focused on your own units, like an agent would. But I could see that you were very, very focused on subleasing as opposed to the management side of the business.
Yeah.
So why did you choose? 'Cause obviously, you were planning to be subleasing when you moved to Dubai, right? So what was the reason for also looking at working as a real estate agent?
Yeah, so originally the plan was, because I wasn't 100% sure that subleasing was going to work. So I wanted to come to Dubai, work for an Airbnb business just to learn everything.
To learn it, yeah.
But then I kind of gave up on that idea. But then when you sold me on the idea of becoming a real estate agent, I thought I was just going to become a real estate agent for years. And then maybe sublease on the side.
Yeah.
So I start working with you in Elite, and I'm mainly focused on the holiday home operations, and but the thing is, once you I was super interested in getting back into working in a company and with people in an office, because I'd done that before for 3 years. But in between, I started working for myself. I started growing my own business. I was working alone. Made good money on my own.
Yeah.
And going from that to working with people and for people again, it's a hard transition.
Yeah,
Course, imagine yourself going back to the real estate agency, and because the problem was, I saw your company was amazing. There were so many fun things, so many good things.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I wanted to go a certain direction with the holiday home operations, and I just wanted to go, blow this thing up,
Yeah.
But then there's, you have to go through this person,
management,
and then you have to go through that person, and it's and then you have some people fighting for power, and a little ego here and there, it's just it was impossible, So, but obviously, I'm some 27-year-old from Iceland that wants to change everything. Obviously, it's going to be hard,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So that was the problem. So why did you end up firing me?
I think it wasn't a personal thing. I think you know that.
Yeah.
But it was a time in the company where we'd grown so much, where we had to basically try to get rid of. We wanted to get everyone on the same page. We had different agents, different people working in the company, where there was just people doing their own thing, and we're all about working as one. It's very hard to get to when you get bigger, but we had to get rid of certain people where I could see with yourself, you were very focused on subleasing, getting your own units, so it was more about that, just making sure everyone was on the same page, working as a team. That's very, very, very important for Elite, you know, and that's why we've got area managers in place now, trying to implement a lot more teamwork, a lot more deals within the company. And that was it really. I could see the direction that you were going in. I knew it was going to be very, very successful, but it was just how can we make money together?
Yeah.
Because your subleasing was like, you know, it was very, very hard to make money with two unless we were obviously investing, putting in the money and putting down the checks, but you didn't need us to do that, you know. It was so it was more about that, you know, how could we make money together?
Yeah, obviously, man, I saw it coming for sure. Because I was starting to sublease on my own while working for, like you knew, while working for your company. And most of my focus had turned to that. Yeah. And you probably saw that. I was not showing up to the office as much. And, you know, then you sent me that message, you know, after 1 month of that. And, you know,
and again, you've got to think of like the new people that join us, you know, different agents. And then it's very important for us that they look at everyone else in the office, and if somebody else is like not in the office or
doing their own thing,
that then you'll have a group of agents that are like, okay, well, I want to do my own thing, or you know, I'm not going to listen to your rules, or you know, and then so it's more about having a very, very tight team. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone's working towards the same goals.
Of course,
that's what we're trying to get to. You know,
obviously,
and it was it wasn't just you. There was other people where we're like, okay, we can see they're doing that. It's fine. You know, do your own thing, but we need to have in Elite a strong team if we're gonna scale. You know?
Yeah, obviously, man. Yeah. It was very sad though because I mean. Because you know I moved to Dubai, I had only been here for like 3 months, and you know that was the only like group I had, you know. I wasn't like, I didn't have, you know, people messaging me on social media at that time. Like, so yeah, it was very sad not to being able to go somewhere. But I mean, I totally get it.
We're still friends though, man. It wasn't a bad breakup.
Yeah, exactly, man.
No, but I could see from early on that, you know, the technologies that you were using, and the knowledge you had obviously from subleasing you were doing in Iceland was, you know, unique compared to what I had seen from, you know, people we'd hired in Elite Vacations or other holiday homes agents. I think it's it's a very tough market. You know, finding experienced holiday home, you know, managers is difficult. So you came with a lot of new knowledge, new experience, which was refreshing, and definitely helped Elite Vacations get to where it is now.
Yeah.
You know? So.
But do you regret firing me? Would you rather have me still there? You know.
Do I regret? Well, it was kind of. I guess I do. But it's just, you know, it's just how will we have done? I think unless we were subleasing together, it was like what we were gonna do. You know,
exactly.
Obviously, it was great having you there in the office, and we were learning and stuff. But you know, it all comes down to
obviously
making money. You know,
of course. Good that we cleared that. Last thing I wanted to talk to you about is just like, you know, the lifestyle in Dubai. I see you. So I did wake surfing a little back. I see you do wake surfing, but recently I've seen you do like
jet surfing.
Yeah. What's the difference between jet surfing and wake surfing?
So jet surfing is basically like a wakeboard with like a motorbike engine. Or like, you know, a go-karting engine inside. So it can go up to like 65 kilometers an hour. It's actually a company, I think a Czech or Croatian company that developed the jet surf. Okay. So I got one of those, and now I'm addicted.
So you can just cruise around wherever you want?
Yeah, you can go anywhere. You've probably seen like the e-foil boards, right? They've got like they come out of the water, and but they've got like a propeller at the bottom, like battery backed. So these are petrol engines in the jet surfs. Yeah.
But what if it's like wavy? Is it fine, or do you have to go on days where it's flat?
You can jump on the waves, or the other day I went all around the Palm Jumeirah.
You went around the Palm?
Yeah.
On your own?
Yeah. No, with one of my friends, Chris.
Okay, but you can't go on your own, just like.
I mean, you could take your phone in like a waterproof pouch, life jacket and everything. Yeah. But you've got to make sure you've got enough petrol and battery to get around.
So you don't have to swim home.
Yeah, exactly.
Man,
but no, I mean, the lifestyle you can have in Dubai, you've seen the amount of the amount of fun. How long have you been here now? 1 year?
7, 8 months.
7 or 8 months, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've seen, you're doing a lot more, like you go to the gym, everything. The lifestyle here is
yeah,
the things you can do outdoors as well.
Yeah, the biggest thing is like, the amount of service you can get. It's just like you can get anything to your doorstep in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And, I get my hair cut at home. I get, cleaners. I get, laundry. I get people to pick up my laundry. Like I take Ubers everywhere. Just the standard of living it's like so much higher.
Yeah, true.
But do you like the jet surfing more than wake surfing?
Do I like jet surfing more? Yeah, because you don't need a boat pulling you along.
Yeah.
So you've got more freedom. You can go, wherever you want.
And you see you had to wear a helmet too?
Yeah, because you don't want to fall off at like 60, 65 kilometers. It's pretty quick,
Yeah.
It's just like a speedboat. So if you fall off at that speed, you don't want to get concussion, right?
Oh yeah.
So you have to wear a helmet if you're going to go full speed.
What
you should come out, next couple of weeks.
Could we go together?
Yeah, sure.
Shit, man, I want to do that. Yeah, for sure, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
What other fun things do you do in Dubai?
So it's a lot of water sports. I own a Jeep as well, so I go out in the desert off-roading. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean that's I think Dubai's got so many.
You have that the red Mercedes-Benz. Are you talking about that one?
No, so the Jeep Sahara Wrangler.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's my off-road Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I love going out, off-road in that as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
All right, man. I think we've talked about it all, man.
Yeah.
Any last things you want to mention?
No, I think it was great coming on the channel, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. What if people want to buy apartments or a property here in Dubai? How is it best to have you help them with that?
So they can reach out, obviously, on the details. I'm sure you'll put it on the video.
Sure. I'll put it in the description.
They can go to our new website, elitepropertydxb.com, and see our full range of services and properties that we've got available.
All right. Yeah. Amazing, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks
man.
a lot.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man.
Cheers.